I'd like to call this public hearing to order. Report on ESSA Consolidated Federal Grant Application. Who's going to take it away?
Loretta is. She's ready and excited.
Welcome, Loretta.
To give us the information.
There you go. Do you want me to make it bigger?
A little bit.
A lot of bit, yeah. Full screen, there you go, sorry. Oh, that's a little bit bigger.
Good afternoon, board members, Dr. Ball, members of our senior staff. Today, as we mentioned, this is the public hearing for the 25-26 ESSA Consolidated Grant. So I want to share just a bit with you how much we will be receiving in funding and how we plan on allocating the money. Starting off with our Title I Part A, we're receiving a little over $4,500,000, and we are splitting that up. 89% of that will be going to funding for campuses so that they can have additional supplemental support staff, whether it's teachers or aides, purchase materials or instructional supplies, support their McKinney-Vento students, and then just have any other students' needs fall underneath that 89%. 5% of that $4 million will go towards professional development. Less than 1% is going to go for our private nonprofit schools, and if you remember, we are required to set aside this money for students that attend a private school but are living within the Southwest ISD boundaries. And the last little over 1% is going to go for parent involvement activities that are also required by our federal regulations. For Title I Part C, which is our migrant funding, we're receiving $33,532, and all of that money goes to support our migrant students, and it goes towards Region 20. We enter a supplemental service agreement with them, and they assist us with that. Title II is just over $600,000. 63% of that will go towards additional support staff, and 24% will go towards contracted services for training for teachers, administrators, and or aides if there's any need for training for them. 3% goes towards the materials and supplies that are needed for those trainings that our teachers and our administrators attend. And then the last 4% there is for teachers and instructional personnel that have to travel for their professional development. In other words, we don't bring them in, they go out to a conference or a training maybe at the service center. For Title III, we're receiving $257,123. This is our English learners. So 77% of those funding goes towards additional support personnel. 9% is professional development to work with the English language learners. And then 7% is for programs that are in the summer, supplies and things that they need to help them with those programs. Last year we received Title III Part A Immigrant, and it was something that I had said we only received every 6 or 7 years. We were lucky enough to receive it again this year. It was a bit of a surprise, but it's not much, but it is $16,842, and all of those funds are going to be used to develop instructional practices to work with our migrant students. Title IV, sorry. Oh, there we go. Title IV is $339,245. So Title IV is broken up into 3 different areas. The first area, with 56% of the funding, is to support and implement safe and healthy students at our campuses. 27% will go towards well-rounded education. And the last 13% is funds for implementing improved use of technology and digital literacy. And that is the intent of how we would like to spend the grant funds. Are there any questions?
Board members, any questions?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
So the Title IV, the provide additional support personnel, what does that look like?
The 77% one?
No, the
The top one?
56 Title IV.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What
Look at
is,
the
what
wrong
does
sheet.
that look like for us?
We currently fund our elementary fine arts director, our coordinator out of this.
And there's additional fine arts staff member for the School of the Arts, the Creole Road School of the Arts.
That's supporting learning that was lost during school closures?
Well, this one is, Title IV allows it to be well-rounded, so you can use it.
Okay.
We also use it for like,
I wouldn't know.
coaches driving in the summer for strength and conditioning.
Oh, you
It's
know
the
what?
overall kid wellness, not
Safety is
just
top one.
necessarily education. This is a kind of
I think she was
a
asking.
hybrid
What
piece.
is it?
Title IV, is that?
Title IV, yes.
So is it labeled wrong when it says support learning loss that have occurred during school closures? Remote learning or for struggling? Where does it say well-rounded anywhere? I'm just curious.
You're talking about the second block. It says towards the bottom, well-rounded, such as career college readings and character ed.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions? At this time, public, any questions? Anyone in the public? Hearing none, we thank you, Lord.
What?
And
If there's nothing else for it?
we thank you, Lord.
Oh, okay. I thought you said, we thank you, Lord.
We thank him too.
Okay.
Okay, and this meeting will adjourn at 5:51. And we will open our meeting, our regular meeting at 6 o'clock. Good evening. I'd like to call this regular meeting to order and welcome everyone. We'd like to begin with the invocation and pledges to allegiance.
Thank you, Roger.
Everybody can please stand if you're able. Lord, as we come together for this meeting, we seek your guidance and presence among us. Fill our minds with wisdom and understanding so that each discussion and decision reflects clarity and purpose. Help us to recognize the challenges before us and grant us the insight to find thoughtful, effective solutions. May we approach our tasks with integrity and collaboration, always mindful of the greater good we serve. Open our eyes to the positive strides and achievements that have unfolded since we last gathered. Let these milestones renew our hope and determination, inspiring us to aim higher and work together for continued success. Bless you. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you.
Okay, now, let's go into recognitions. Dr. Ball?
Jenny is gonna help me with the recognition. We have one very special one tonight that we would like to recognize.
Would Miss Melanie Henson please come forward? We are proud to celebrate our amazing Assistant Athletic Director, Melanie Henson, for earning not one, but two big honors at the Texas High School Athletic Directors Association Hall of Honor ceremony on June 1st in Round Rock. Ms. Henson was named Region 8 Athletic Administrator of the Year for the fourth time, a clear sign of her strong leadership and commitment to our athletics program. She was also honored with the State Award of Merit from the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association for leading last year's national conference in Austin. Mel is known for her hard work and dedication to our students, coaches, and community. Thanks to her, our athletic department runs smoothly, stays on top of UIL rules, and puts safety and compliance first. Her systems have become a model across the city and state. Because of Ms. Henson's efforts, everyone from athletes to parents can focus on their roles, knowing that everything behind the scenes is taken care of. She leads with heart, precision, and integrity, and we're lucky to have her on the Southwest IS team. Congratulations, your recognition is well deserved.
Thank you. At this time, did anybody sign up for public
No,
general
sir.
comments? Okay, we'll jump into item 5, consent agenda. Board members, you've had that before you. Any questions, any items to pull out?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, items of information. Let's begin with the construction update.
Yes, sir, we got Thomas, we have
Thomas.
lots of construction updates tonight. So I'll turn it over to him.
Good evening.
Good evening, Thomas.
First, we'll be bringing up James Moore with OCR to do the Bob Hope Elementary renovation addition update.
President Vasquez, Dr. Ball, board members, thank you very much for the time. So for the Bob Hope Elementary, I have some great news. I'm going to spoil it. We're about 90% complete. As of Friday afternoon, we did a punch walk of Area A, the library, of Classroom B, Area B classrooms, the new addition E classrooms, as well as re-looked at some of the Area C. So as you can see, the library is ready for furniture. There's a few little items for punch list. It'll take the next 30 days to complete. The hallway and the existing, or the new classrooms are all ready for occupation, as well as the Area B classrooms. And then in Area D, the only area that's left, demolition is done and new finishes are planned to go in the next 15 to 20 days. We're still on budget. I also have another spoiler, good word, is that instead of September 19th for substantial completion, we're looking at the end of August.
Very nice.
Any questions?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thomas, on the furniture for the library and all that, when's that coming in? Do y'all know? Dixie? Huh? July?
17th is the date we have
Okay.
right now on the schedule.
Okay, thank you.
Next, Lawrence is going to be with LPA, sorry, on the Elm Creek Elementary renovation project.
Thomas, see, put him closer to the mic.
Board, good evening. Thank you for your time tonight. So I'll be presenting for LPA Architecture, and Joris is the general contractor on this project. I'm going to be presenting on Elm Creek, as well as Indian Creek and Big Country millwork replacement. Which one is it? This tab. All right, great. So this is a multiple phase project. On spring break, they mobilized and started phase 1. They've also started phase 2 when summer commenced. So they are approximately 85% on phase 1 and 25% on phase 2. Each phase includes about 8 to 7 classrooms. Phase 2 also includes the cafeteria, so a rather large area they're taking care of this summer. Phase 1, which I said is approximately 85% complete with demo. All that really remains is the flooring, some of the ceiling tile, as well as some tile wainscot in the corridors. They've made a lot of progress. They're currently on schedule for phase 1 and doing an excellent job out there. So phase 2, which is what commenced the beginning of this month, really have completed demolition and have started some framing. Here you can see the cafeteria looking at the stage, and then also looking to the back where the kitchen is. So they've made a lot of progress here. And here are some views of the classrooms. All the walls have been gutted, as well as the corridor. You can also see that they have already commenced with some of the sheetrock and backer board for the tiling. So for for Indian Creek and Big Country, who have a little bit over 80 classrooms that we're replacing the millwork. So at Indian Creek, we've got 43, and they have already, and at Big Country, they've got 39. They've already completed the demolition. They started a couple of weeks ago, so they've got all of the existing millwork out. They're currently touching up the walls and preparing for the new millwork installation, which will begin this week. As you can see, the millwork's gone. They're prepping the walls. Again, on schedule for this project as well. Overall, they've built about 7% of the project, and we are on budget. As you can see, the 2.3 million is the change order for the millwork projects.
Questions, anyone?
Questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next, we have Southwest Elementary with George Baumberger. Jorge is going to be here to give the presentation tonight. So this is Southwest Elementary renovation.
Dr. Ball, members of the board, thank you. The Southwest Elementary School has been divided in two parts. First part was the placement of the portables that currently you can see it on the top right-hand side, which has been completed and occupied by the school. That gave us access to the phase one. This elementary school has been divided in 6 phases. Phase one is almost complete. There are some items that at the end the district has decided to change, for instance, doors. Instead of renovated doors, place new doors. And those have been ordered along with the hardware. But phase two has been started. The contractor started with the demolition, and if you have the chance to drive in front of the school, the old canopy portions of that has been demolished to allow for the new canopy that will demarc the main entrance to the school. It has been started. We have encountered several challenges during the construction. We are changing all the air conditioning equipment, and it looks like it's easier, but we found that the new equipment is a lot more heavier than the old equipment. So our consultant, the structural engineer, reinforced all the structure and to allow for these changes. The work seems to be on time and in budget. We have not received any request from the contractor for any change order. So right now we're going to finish phase two during this summer. Any question?
Is the challenge you were receiving, talking about the heavier equipment,
Yes.
is that the main challenge?
Hidden things that it was not easy to find during the design. But since we know that some of these can occur, we allocate enough funds to solve any problems. So up to now, everything is on time and in budget.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So next will be Jeff Rodriguez will be here. I'm going to let Jeff go. No, you can. Creweld School of the Arts renovation.
Thank you very much. Good evening, and thank you for having me here. My name is Jeff Rodriguez with Huckabee. I'm pleased to give you an update on Creweld Elementary School of the Arts for June. In conjunction with Marksman, our contractor, we're doing work there. we're actually, just a quick introduction here, we're just going to go through the phasing, some completed activities, activities currently ongoing, and then upcoming activities for the campus. So actually, this was a two-package project. Our package one was to bring the portables on to make sure that we had swing space for the renovations as we were going through. That was completed during the summer, and then, or during the school year. And then we started in spring break here, and we took phase one, which is that teal color on the screen there. And Marksman has gone through and worked through about 11 classrooms. We've actually started on phase two of this project, which takes the remainder of the classrooms on the left-hand side there, and then into the administration, into the library. As we finish that, we'll then move on to the lower right phase. Right now they have it shown currently starting at Christmas, but that's going to be corrected because as soon as package two is done this summer, they'll roll into that portion there. Move up, following that to the upper portion of working through spring break, and then next summer we'll continue to work through the gymnasium, the cafeteria, and updates as well with the restroom. So that's kind of the phasing as we're going through. Here's just some photos here. On the left, you see the existing conditions that we had with the structural CMU, and we're going back in removing that. So this is some of the work down that corridor where it's been cleaned up. We're going to replace the ceilings, the floor, new paint. Painting the window frames. We're updating the millwork. Those are shelves along in that center picture, and then all the ceilings are going to be replaced throughout the facility. As I mentioned, this is actually phase one of package two, and just a listing of some of the things. We've completed the demo. We're in the build back phase. Ceiling grid has been completed. They're priming and painting some of the walls and continuing to work through with the storage and the shelving. Again, those are the light fixtures are coming in. I think this week they'll have light fixtures coming in, and then HVAC trim out on the ductwork that's in there, resilient flooring, and then we'll come back and we'll test the HVAC to make sure that it's proper volumes are blowing out to each of the classrooms. As we continue on, some of the things that we're looking at, again, just updating some of the spaces that are ongoing with construction activities there. And then in this package here, we're going to come back with some tile wainscoting, final paint. Currently for this phase, we're substantially complete in July. Our next portion that we're going to be working on is the amphitheaters, and then the vestibules will begin with upgrades. I think that's it. Do you have any questions?
Questions, anyone? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, I have Bob Skwarczyk here with KinCon, and he's going to be presenting on the new central office project. It might take us 1 second to pull this.
Hello.
Hello.
Is this right here? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. So update on the, here's the rendering on the central office. It's going real well. This is from March the 17th, an older photo. That's March the 17th. And then this was last month's update, April the 30th. This is what it looks like today. So the masonry is 100% complete around the building. The metal wall panels, the soffit, the metal wall panels are 100% complete. The soffit is about probably 95% complete. This is what it looked like back on April the 30th. This is what it looks like today. These are all photos taken today. You can see the soffit is in, the lighting's in. We're working furiously to get the signs in the columns, the slope signs, the frame with the perforated panels. This is from last month or 6 weeks ago. This is what it looks like today. You can see all the metal wall panels are in there. That one area down below the metal wall panels, that gets the it gets a wood type siding on it, and we're going to wait until we pour the concrete to put that in so we don't damage that. This is from the again, April the 30th. This is what it looks like today. So that's 6 weeks worth of work. Here's some of the other older photos, April 10th, April 30th. Now we've got, you can see everything's painted black above. We've got the acoustic clouds going in. We've got the aluminum door frames put in and the glazing as well on the way on those. Same on the other side of the building. This is building A. This is where the dais is for the boardroom. That's what it looked like basically 6 weeks ago. And now that's completely drywalled in, taped and floated and painted. You can see the difference there. I'd say the acoustic ceilings, the grid is about 90% complete. So all the above ceiling work is just chasing that. So a recap, we're 75% complete through the middle of June, through right now, through today. So the masonry is 100% complete. Metal wall soffit panels are 90%. Continuing on with all the site work, the curb, and then the sidewalks. The permanent power is now to the building, and then the louvered equipment on enclosure on top is completed. And then the ongoing interior work is basically the finishes. We've got, on the 26th, we have inspection with the fire department, Farragut County. Once that clears, that's for all the above ceiling work. That can continue on, and we can start dropping ceiling tile everywhere.
Air conditioning is on in the administration building and the Sky Bridge. Soon to be on in the A building.
Yeah, they actually had a coil that they had to get. And that should have been put in today, so. Anyway. Questions?
Looks great.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
It feels quick. Yeah. 2 more meetings here. 3 more, like I said.
I know. Can you believe that?
The last report we have is Renell's here to give a report and update on Alvarado Elementary.
Thank you.
It's opening, just taking a second.
And you decided to come to. Sorry, I was late.
Is that a big file?
It
Is it a big file?
might be easier to just open it.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. Oh yeah, it's a big file. Just take a second.
Thanks.
Yes. Let me close some of this stuff out to make it a little bit faster. There it goes. All right, give me 1 second to share it.
Good evening. I'm very excited to be here and present the update for Alvarado Elementary School. And with me here is, I'm Onel Jimenez with Marmon Mock.
James, nice to meet you, Joris.
Yes. So we normally start off with just an overview of where everything is at, and I'm sure at this point you guys have seen this enough times that it's very familiar. So layout of the site, the building, that north portion is the 2-story,
and you can see it on the second floor plan as well. Current progress, we're about 23% complete. Work completed at this point is crawl space insulation in areas C and D, soil retainers and backfill around areas C and D, grease trap, canopy pier caps, removal of pans in areas A and B, work in progress, underfloor insulation of sanitary lines and light fixtures, structural steel, yay! Polished concrete in areas A and B, summer work, utility connections, sidewalks, and drives. A little bit of the progress photos. This is where we were at the end of May. All of the slab was complete at that point, and you can see the area where art and music is had already had polished concrete and was being protected. This is where we are as of today. We're seeing the steel starting to get going. There was a lot of rain last week towards the end of the week, so that kind of limited our ability to get moving or get more progress on the steel. But definitely it's moving now, and you'll see this develop very rapidly. This is more pictures of the steel, and this is kind of more of an overview. The pictures on the right are showing some of the construction work that's happening along the side of the road, the drives that are going to take place over the summer. And then the underfloor crawl space, you can see this is where the insulation is already in. And we're looking, the main progress or the main thrust of the effort at this point is structural steel. And we have a little drone video to kind of give you a little bit of a sense of the site. You can see a lot of the water accumulated there from the rains. Any questions?
Questions?
No.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's everything? I do want to say something really quick for Thomas. Where's Billy? I know he sits way in the back.
He had to go to a.
Oh, did he? And then Dixie, you know, adding the millwork at Big Country and Indian Creek with the fencing project, we have 11 active projects going, roughly about $170 million worth of projects that we've never really had that many projects. Usually it's 3 or 4 projects at a time, and we time them out. So that it's every day, all day, and actually coordinating furniture now for some of these places. So it's really busy. So I just want to give them a shout out because it is a lot of work, and we're having a lot of good projects going.
He's doing it all without work orders. He's doing it all without work orders.
Okay. Monthly tax report, board
Yes,
members.
sir. Yeah, we're trending at exactly where we are, about 94% collection at this point.
Great. Monthly financial report. Got anything to say? Okay. Monthly investment report. Board members, any questions, stop me. Reports on gifts and requests. Enrollment report. It's at 14,844. Okay. Purchases over 50,000. District demographic report. I know we have something on that.
Yeah, we have Brent here. He's
Oh,
he's been with us a while now, and so he's here to kind of update the demographics of the district, talk a little bit about our population growth, our areas that we're seeing lots of growth, and he's going to also show some areas that we're not seeing it, just so that you can have eyes on different aspects of our district. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to him because he's got quite a lengthy presentation, so we want to get through it, and if there's any questions, he can answer them. All right, Brent.
Thank you, Mr. Chris, board members, Dr. Ball. It's a pleasure to be here again for the annual demographics update. Like Mr. Chris said, we have quite a bit to cover, so let's get right to it. What you see here are the annual snapshot numbers. The official number for the 2024-25 school year, official enrollment 14,833. That is a new record high for the district. So recall a year ago at this time, our forecast was for the district to see between about 14,600 and 14,900. So enrollment did come in sort of in the moderate to moderate high growth pace. The TEA releases enrollment data for all of the districts in the greater San Antonio area in the springtime. So I've given you the updated numbers here. You can see that Southwest ISD is the 7th largest school district in the greater San Antonio area as of this past school year. When you look at the growth compared to last year, enrollment was up 4.4%. That is the fastest growth that the district has experienced in 12 years. But you can see that period of growth or the period where enrollment declined from 2016 up to really through the end of the pandemic period. You can see how these last 3 years have been much faster, averaging about 3.8% annual growth. When you compare that to what other districts in the region are seeing, here are the percentage growths for the last 3-year period. The districts shaded in red are the fastest growing. So you can see Medina Valley, Navarro, at the top of the growth, but many of the districts that are sort of in the outer ring of the region are seeing the fastest growth. And so this map here, this illustration is very similar to what we see in many of the metro areas in Texas, where the more mature school districts in the interior core of the metro areas are seeing enrollment declines and experiencing consolidations and closing schools as many of the home buyers moved further out into to purchase houses. So you can see that Southwest ranks 6th over these last 3 years in percentage growth, but 3rd in overall net numeric growth. So the net growth over these last 3 years, just under 1,600, you can see how it is right up there with the fastest growing districts in the area. This slide here gives you the numbers, the latest numbers that we have from our census-based ESRI reports. You can see that in 2024, these are as of late summer of 24, 75,000 total residents, nearly 22,000 total households. One of the key takeaways here is we continue to see, recall it, I talked last year about you're seeing more houses, they're on smaller lots. You're seeing smaller people per household, fewer children per household. We're starting to see that reflected in the overall numbers with that household size continuing to decline. There's some other charts on here. You can see the percentage of families declining a little bit. But when you look through the overall numbers here, these really reflect some larger national trends. The younger generation is having fewer children currently. But let's focus back on what's happening here within the district. These are the attendance level numbers. You can see the chart in 2-year increments. Note that pre-K and high school enrollment in 24-25 reached record highs. Also look at the numbers for K through 5 elementary, the last 3 years growing at about 4.5%. That's great to see after those years during the pandemic period. Recall that we've highlighted that growth wave that's been moving through the district from that group that moved in back in the 2012-2013 timeframe. You can see how those kiddos have moved up into the high school range, and you can see the record numbers in 10th through 12th grade this past school year. But also note the improvement in the K through 2 numbers we've seen over these last 2 years. So it's good to see those numbers strengthening. One of the charts that's a metric that we look at every year is graphing what's coming in versus what's outgoing. If you look on the left-hand side of the chart, you can see the kindergarten, the blue line, and the first grade numbers, orange line. You can see how much higher they are than the 12th grade numbers. That's very characteristic of a fast growth district. You can see how the lines grew together during the period that the district was declining. And now one of the encouraging signs is that we're seeing those kindergarten and first grade numbers begin to climb higher. Now with that growth wave coming up into the upper grades, you can see how the yellow line has moved ahead of those, but I expect it to to invert again more back to a characteristic of a fast growth district going forward. Also encouraging to see for what's coming into the district is the local birth rate. I just made a comment nationally, but if you look here locally, you can see that the number of births for babies born in the general area of the district, you see represented by the blue line, moved 5 years forward, is trending upward. The number for 2020, there dipped down a little bit. That's the 845 on the chart, but note that the latest data that we have, 2021, that's the highest that we've seen over the last 15 years or so. So very strong numbers, encouraging. Might be a little bit of a flat number in kindergarten in 25, but it's encouraging for 2026 to see that number bounce back up towards 1,000. Now, this chart here is our student mobility. We're looking at the student IDs that were present a year ago in K through 11. Did they move up to 1st through 12th grade? What do those comparisons look like? You can see these last 3 years that you've seen quite a few newcomers versus the leavers. It's an average of just a little bit more than 2,000 newcomers coming in versus 1,600 or so that have been leaving. So again, characteristics of the fast growth that you're seeing. Now you have the enrollments by campus in here for your reference. I want to move on and show you some additional data that has come out recently. This is the TEA's transfer report. Now everybody's going to immediately jump and look at that 6527. I want to comment on that. The TEA reported last year they dramatically overcounted the number of kids in charter schools. So they revised it down, and this year they are saying that there were just a little more than 3,400 students that live in the district or were attending elsewhere. Now remember that this number is based on PEIMS data, and it reflects students that are living in the district and attending other charter schools or other public school districts. It does not reflect private schools. So where are they going? I've given you the list here. The majority are in the IDEA campuses, as they've been for many years now. You can see though that as more districts, neighboring districts have gone to open enrollment, they have pulled some of the students out of the district, as well as you all bringing students in with your open enrollment policy as well. So a little trading off going there. We have seen a few more, there's been a couple more virtual schools open across the state. So we've seen a little bit there, not as much as what I've seen in other districts. Now the geocoding that we do every year shows 94% live within the district boundary, about 7% transferring in. What's important here is we're looking at the student yields from the housing growth. The yield from the single family today continues to slowly decline. It's a 0.45 overall. Again, this is another way of seeing how, as these new types of homes on the smaller lots are coming in, they have fewer kids. I've given you the individual subdivisions. I think what's important to note is that many of the top performers are yielding right in that range of 0.3 to 0.5. So you can go through and see those numbers. The apartment numbers were as the newer high-end apartments that have a higher percentage of one bedrooms continue to be built here in the district. We're seeing that apartment yield gradually decline as well, and in this year's at 0.43. But we are seeing a little bit more if you compare these growth rates of the sample size to enrolled students, you're getting a little bit more from your new apartments than you are from the single family. Okay, so let's shift gears and let's talk about what the main growth driver has been for the district. This slide here shows the numbers for the greater San Antonio region for new home construction. The San Antonio area in 2024 produced a record number of closings. Many of the areas you'll see on the possibly on the news and articles about how the housing market has slowed down in many parts of the state. Well, typically we're talking about Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, Houston. But San Antonio has been performing better. The interest rates are still high, as most of you know, still right about 7%. But this is mainly affecting the sales on the existing home side. People are still, you remember me talking about being house locked, and many of the people that have mortgage rates that are around 3% are staying in their homes. But this is benefiting the new home side because the builders are buying the rates down. So this, where the school districts that have lots of new homes available, that's where the buyers are going because they're buying the rates down to 3.9 and 4.9, and they're doing it for 30 years. Now that's expensive for builders. It means they're less profitable. Some individual builders may slow down a little bit as we go through the next couple of years if rates stay high. But for you all, the key takeaway is that you have the new homes that are attracting people, and you have the new homes that are in the price point that are attracting people in San Antonio. The 200s and the 300,000 price homes are where the majority of the activity is today. Now, when you look at job growth in the region here, San Antonio growing much faster than the other major markets. You'll hear that the other markets are slower. They're seeing job growth is as slow as it's been since 2010, but here in San Antonio, right about that 24,000 a year, which has been historically where it's been. You can see the red line. The housing market has done quite well when there are that many jobs. As you all are probably very well of JCB plant coming in on Highway 16, 1,500 jobs. So we are seeing, we're gonna watch that manufacturing number over these next couple years in this area of Texas becoming more prominent in that job sector. All right, so let's focus now on the housing growth. You've got your quarterly numbers in here, but let's move on to the annual numbers. So 1,480 new homes were started through the 12-month period that ended in March, and a record 1,502 homes were moved into. The lot development slowed down, or lot delivery, slowed down over the last 12 months. 768 lots were delivered, but the key point here is, like we talked about a year ago with all of the projects that were opening up, the builders have produced record new home construction, and that's been fueling the growth. Southwest has now moved up to the 5th most active new home market in all of the greater San Antonio area. These are the top performing neighborhoods. You can see many of them are producing more than 130 closings a year. You can see when you go through the elementary zones, you're going to see that the growth is widespread. I think that's one of the key things to take away is it's all over the district. One thing that we're watching, if you look at that column with the future and preliminary lots, you see a lot of zeros. Well, that means that a lot of these popular subdivisions are running low on lots. So when you see my forecast, you'll see the strong next 3 years and it begin to taper off. Well, many of these neighborhoods are going to need replacements. So we're going to continue to watch that. So price point wise, I did show you the popularity of homes under 350,000 and how that compares over there on the right to what the region is as a whole. So very affordable new homes here in the district, which is a benefit. Activity by attended zone, you can see the activity by elementary zone here. So again, Spicewood Park is the leader over the last year with about 375 new homes, but you can see it's district-wide. Southwest, Medio, Bob Hope, and Sky Harbor all producing a lot of homes. And even Crewell Road and Sun Valley over 100 new homes in those attended zones. A lot of this feeds into Resnick and Legacy High School, so you can see how they have the majority of the activity. Now, looking at inventory as of this spring, there are about 2,300 lots that are on the ground. These are the ones fully developed and ready for houses to start. About 1,300 lots are coming behind that. When you roll it all together, there's about 8,300 single-family lots in production and about 2,500 apartments that we've got in our forecast. So we've got them mapped out here through throughout the district. You can see, when I refer to it being district-wide, you can see the widespread geographic location of all these subdivisions. And we're even seeing some additional development outside of our survey area to the southwest of Elm Creek, where we're seeing some new homes in mobile home communities coming in down there as well, which is adding to growth in Elm Creek. All right, so I have pictures of the developments from the end of March. I'll go through these quickly. This is up in the Vita area. You can see the progress in the bottom corner with the University Health Medical Center. But this subdivision is adding several new lots and new phases. You can see there in the picture. Across Zarzamora is the Smiley Tract. This is several hundred lots, filling in there. Hunters Pond, between Hunters Pond and Vita. And then as you move over, you can see the Applewhite Meadows subdivision, the new South SA Palo Alto apartments are just opening. So a lot of the ones that we talked about last year are up and running. And then others that we've watched for years are starting to wind down. So you can see Marbella Los Altos in the Nets area starting to wind down. And then Reserve at Medina, after all this time, they have developed all the lots, and that's what you see in the picture are what they have remaining. Now you can see those streets stubbed out into the adjacent parcels, so we're watching for that to be sold. But at this point, it's still that still has not occurred. Now we're watching on the Watson Road corridor. Here's Rancho or Colota. This is where Habitat Humanity. This home builder, Hand Up Homes, and these have given you a 0.8 yield, getting lots of kids out of this type of home. And they've got more land coming there where Fisher and Watson Road are, where it comes together there at the curve. So we've got a lot of activity right there near the Alvarado Elementary campus. So the timing on that in 2026, like we talked about, is very, very good. Again, you move through the area, you can see more of the development. Move over to where Lennar is. They've been moving pretty quickly at Valley Sol. They're going to move across the street, across 35 on the north side to a subdivision called Sunshine Trails. They've got nearly 800 lots there. That one will be in Southwest Elementary currently. Crescent Hills, top seller. You can see how it's filled in so quickly right there next to Medio Creek Elementary. Remember, Solana Ridge has been active for so long, and now look, D.R. Horton is down to the final few lots in the picture. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go to replace this. And then others, you can see Melissa Ranch, and then if you go up to where 90 and 1604, the Applewood community continues to expand. They've pushed their they've completed their northern entrance off the 90 access road. So this area will continue to grow and add future retail and commercial in the area. And then look at all the homes in Cinco Lakes and in Medina Landing. And Lucky Ranch, we're still watching, just so you're aware. There's a couple tracks that are, most of it today is in Medina Valley Schools, but there are about 300 lots that are still left there. We're continuing to watch that progress. Okay, so what does all this look like moving forward? These next 3 years, we're looking at about 1,200 to 1,400 closings per year. Over the next 5 years, it could be 6,200 homes. We could see over 9,000 homes in 10 years. So again, quite a bit of activity to go. So what does that mean in terms of enrollment growth? When you look at the moderate scenario, that is really a 3% growth rate from this year to next year, being in that 15.3 range up to 15.4, more of a 3.5 to 4%. So the blue line really represents more of a 2.5 to 3% growth rate over the next 5 to 10 years. Even if that happens, we're looking at almost 2,000 more students in the district over the next 5 years, potentially 3,000 over 10 years. If we see the yields go up, if we see even more subdivisions, there's the potential for 2,500 to 4,000 students coming in to the district. Now, there's a lot of factors that I'm talking to Brandon about being on that moderate. You know, we've got the vouchers coming in 26. You know, how's that going to impact K through 2? You know, we're watching the builders say that they're going to try to purposely slow down. So there's some things out there market-wide. You all adjusting your transfer policy, those kinds of things are all contributing to being more in that 2.5% to 3% forecast. So even at that forecast, these are the projections, the roll-up for each attendance level and their percentage of capacity. You can see today that at elementary, the blue line's about 86% of functional capacity. With the addition of Bob Hope's additional classroom space, and then the Alvarado campus is going to fall back towards 80, but it's going to keep growing. And so you all are going to have to likely need to address elementary again within the next 5 to 6 years. If it grows faster, it's going to be 3 to 4 years. So as you can see, you have the capacity right now at middle and high school to absorb the growth. If we see the higher rate of growth, just kind of move everything up to the left on our charts. But overall, I think elementary will continue to be the area of most of your focus. I'll answer any questions that you have at this time.
No questions.
Answered everything.
Thank you for the handout. Everything's pretty
Thank
clear.
you. Very good presentation. Thank you.
All right, Brent, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Vasquez.
Okay, we're gonna go to a budget update.
Yes, sir. We got Scott. He's going to come up and kind of get a quick update. There's a little bit of information from last time added on with some more TEA guidance that we got. And then we've kind of started our projections. We still have a lot of work to do as the summer goes on, as we start closing out this fiscal year and looking at budgets like transportation, facilities and maintenance, and the costs that we took on this year and forecasting next year. So he's going to go through it pretty quickly for you. And then if you have any questions, he'll be ready to answer them.
All right, well, good evening, board members, Dr. Ball, senior staff. Let's talk budget. Here we go. All right, so as you know, there's a new law, House Bill 2. I think we talked about it a couple of times before, so I'm not going to bore you with those details, but they're pretty important to our budget. But on the right, what we do need to know is that there are templates out there for us, for Brandon and I to kind of look at to kind of base our revenue off of. So those are currently being modified. So the good news is, as more information comes out, the better those templates are at estimating revenue, and that helps us with our budget process. So here we go. So some new laws that came out that are not called House Bill 2 is Senate Bill 4. It's the resident homestead exemption. So that increased from $100,000 to $140,000. That still has to go to the voters, but I'm pretty sure the voters are going to vote yes for less taxes. This seems to be the trend. And so we'll be keeping an eye out for that one. What that means for us is that we'll receive less tax dollars. However, we'll receive the difference from the state. So it doesn't really affect us in the wallet, so that's good. So the next item that's pretty important is the Senate Bill 1453 that relates to the INS tax rate. Basically what this bill is saying is that if we come to you guys in August and ask for approval of a tax rate that's higher than what we need to pay our bond payment, then we'd have to justify that additional rate. So right now we haven't decided if we're going to be coming to you all with that information. Typically in the past we've used that additional funds for defeasance or increasing the fund balance for future defeasance. So, but we'll come to that in August. All right. And of course, this one's very exciting for the purchasing office. The procurement law changed, so now it increased to $100,000. So Senate Bill 1173. Thank you for that increase. And so that'll probably be part of the next TASB update. So looking forward to that one. All right. So as we said, we've had some new insight into revenue, and here's a screenshot of our current projections of revenue. So we're looking at $181 million revenue. So It seems like a lot, but as you know, some of it is earmarked for flow through to teacher raises and support staff raises. So, all right, so last time, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the new funding that we would be receiving, and we were looking at about $7 million. The new updates are showing us about $9 million, so that's great. We still have the $5 million that we need to flow out. We have to contribute about $500,000 as well from our pocket to pay the taxes and the difference for the new raises. But at the end of the day, we should get about a $4.2 million increase in funding. So that's pretty nice. We're excited about it. So how does that work? So at this time, we're kind of taking that information. We're looking at our overall staffing, and we're looking at a 2% increase for all staff, and of course the teachers would be receiving the raise that the state provided as part of the House Bill 2. So that is what this would look like. So the total cost for that is estimated to be $151 million. So you can see the raise, about $5 million in raise. We're receiving about 4.4 in rate and money from the state, so we'll be having to pay the difference. So, all right. This is what our draft budget would look like based on our new higher revenue and our even higher payroll. So we're looking at about a $1.7 million deficit budget currently, which would bring our fund balance projected in 2026 to about $56 million. So we're still in good shape. This is a way better situation than we were, I think, this time last year, so I feel pretty good about it. Brandon and I will continue to look at revenue estimates, continue to look at payroll updates as we get those clarifications from TEA and other places. But so far, we think this looks pretty good. It's a good starting point for us. I feel a lot better than this with this number than I did 2 weeks ago. So, all right. And this is a fun slide that shows the fund balance. There you go. All right. Compensation, everyone's favorite topic. All right, so TEA came out with a guidance on how they would like to see the teacher pay scale with the new raises added to it. And so this right here is what that pay scale would look like for Southwest ISD. As you can see, the starting salary would stay at $60,000. Years 1 and year 2 would stay the same, and then year 3, we add the $2,500. Year 4, $2,500, and then year 5 starts the $5,000 increase. And so, and our salary scale goes up to 34 years. So anyone 34 years or more will be receiving the that slide. And so we also have the uncertified teacher that would, the new hire uncertified teacher starting pay would be $57,000. So, any questions on that slide? All right, very good. Moving on. This page right here is the same one from 2 weeks ago. We just kind of reminder of who all will no longer be on the teacher pay scale. We've moved them to the new campus professional support pay scale. We're still working with our frontline service to kind of create that pay scale within our computer software. It's a little bit more task oriented than we thought, but we'll have it done by the time we start in August. So here we go. All right, so that new campus support pay scale, this is what that would look like. As you can see, with the 2% raise, it's about $1,400, and so that just kind of flows across. So starting salary would continue to be $60,000 year 1, $6,140, and so forth. So, and this one also, this is the one that includes the nurses and the librarians as well. So this is our counselor pay scale. They've always been on their own scale, so this one just shows their new scale with the $1,400 increase, and so that's there for you to check it out. All right, next steps. So we are in June. We've talked about our compensation plan. We'd like to come back to you in July with a compensation plan to approve. And then, of course, we'll continue to go over the budget reports. We'll have some updated information on our revenues, probably have a better insight as to what tax rate we propose and so forth. We'll have our certified values by the end of July, so that will really help us out as we move into August and approve our budget. So, any questions?
Questions? Any?
On the potential campus support, so y'all are recommending a 2% or?
Well, so we're gonna run numbers. We're gonna start with 2%, and go from there. Running the 2%, and not doing anything else in the budget-wise, we're at a $1.7 million deficit. We could potentially run something like a 1.5 to see if that gets us closer away from our deficit, or we can go to 3 and see how much we add to our deficit. Because you're talking auxiliary staff, you're talking bus drivers, counselors, custodial staff, everybody getting across the board 2%. I was in the call with the superintendents, because I set it for Dr. Ball, Northside's 1.2%. Northeast, I think, is 1.5.
1.5, I think.
And so we feel like 2% for us is a good starting point to see how much. I bring that up because we have to be ready for 2026. So what we do now this year will impact us when we get into opening Alvarado, because we're probably going to add on $5 to $7 million in operational budget. And so we're going to run numbers, and we're going to still work on our revenue. There's a lot of things to unpack still on revenue, because some of the revenue is prescripted. We're showing it as revenue that we're gaining, but some of it's going to the CT program. Unless we're adding teachers that can't help us pay for teachers, that's just going to give them more money in their operational. So we're still having to work through a lot of those to see what actual money is going to help us to reduce the deficit. And then, like I said, some of the other bigger departments right now, they're getting close to running in the red, like transportation and facilities and maintenance, and how we can fix that next year. So there's still a lot to look at, and so we can run different scenarios. The reason why we can't give you hard numbers right now is, like Scott said, because we're having to do something different with all our scales and put them in our system, and it's taking us a little longer than we thought it was going to take.
So you're saying the 1.7 deficit includes the 2%
Correct.
already?
Correct. Like a real, like, raw calculation. And that's not including some of the other things I just talked about.
Brendan, this time last year, we were looking at what deficit? Was it 12?
Yeah, we adopted about a $12 million.
And what did we end up with?
Well, we're finishing the year right now.
Yeah,
So I think that our revenue is coming in a lot stronger, so I don't think we're going to be in the 12s
Okay.
at all.
So we don't know the number
Yeah,
yet. Okay.
but I will say that including in that was we asked the board to do an incentive, so we spent about $3 million that we didn't anticipate out of fund balance for that. So right now we're tracking with our revenue. I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. We're going to go into fund balance, but it's not going to be to the tune of $12 million.
12 million. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Okay, item 7, Administration and Human Resources. Consider approval of resources for learning, for mentoring, support of teachers new to teaching and mentor teachers.
Yes, Ms. Barton, it has this one, it's in regard to a grant that we were awarded.
So, this year, under our talent management, which is Dr. McClellan, she went out and, looked for different ways for us to mentor new teachers. What we find out is if we can keep teachers in our district for 2 to 3 years, then they stay. And they like the Southwest community and the culture, and so our job is to make sure that they're able to be very successful in their first couple of years with us. And so she went ahead and applied for, it's considered a grant type, but it's called an allotment. So it is the mentoring program allotment, and we went ahead and received that this year, so we won that grant. And with that, we will be able to train the mentors, the people who are actually going to help these new teachers out. We're going to have individuals who worked at the Regional Service Center, and this was their expertise, come out to the campuses, help the administrators on how to lead a positive culture for new teachers to want to stay, how to help mentor teachers on how to not only be great classroom teachers, but to mentor new and upcoming teachers to the profession. And in addition to that, to make sure that every new teacher has a voice with somebody who's not their direct person who evaluates them, somebody who they can soundboard ideas with and really talk about issues, and then they can go through and work with the administrators on clarifying maybe standards or practices or things that need to happen. And so we were very fortunate to be able to win this allotment. And so this program that we're having before you is over $50,000. It is one of the approved programs from TEA. You had to use an approved program. And so this would be paid out of the allotment completely.
How much is the allotment?
I think it's almost 100 $100,000. We're paying a little bit out of, Dr. McClellan's salary for it, and the rest of it would be this, and then locally, we typically already pay a stipend for that mentoring because they do hours outside. In fact, with this, they'll have to do 2 days in the fall prior to school starting and a couple hours in session, and we already have that as a part of stipend grant, but we're looking for different ways to fund things, so we're still looking for extra money.
Thank you.
I move. I second.
We have a motion and second. The board approve Riley and Presley Educational Paraprofessional Certification Training and Mentoring Support for Teachers due to teaching. Questions, anyone? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Item 8, Business and Finance. A, consider approval of a lease agreement with Palo Alto College for Castam High School site.
Yes, sir. This is a 2-year agreement to extend for the next 2 years with Cass High School being on site at Palo Alto College. The estimate, it'll be about $395,000. We did negotiate. We also negotiated down the price because it was actually costing us more. Because we are not having some of our programs there, we exempted June and July. So this is actually a lower price than what we've been paying at Palo Alto this time.
Great.
What is our anticipated enrollment at CAS next year?
I know the freshman class is going to be about 120.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I know the freshman class numbers, but I don't have the other numbers memorized, but we can share that information.
I move. Second.
We have a motion and second that we approve a lease extension with Palo Alto College through 26-27 fiscal year. Questions, anyone? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion, all opposed, please say nay. Motion passes. Okay. B, consider approval of ESSA federal grant application.
Yes, sir. As Loretta presented during the public hearing, I do want to point out under Title IV, there was a typo. It should have said well-rounded students and using those funds for well-rounded students. And so that was what those funds are entitled for. And so I'm asking the board to approve as presented and recommending to the board to approve the ESSA application.
I move. I second.
We have a motion and second that we approve the submission of the ESSA Consolidated Federal Grant Application for 25-26 school year. Questions, anyone? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Consider approval of adopting a policy declining to grant non-enrolled students the opportunity to participate in League UIL activities.
Yes, sir. So this is a new House bill. In the past, districts had to opt in. So basically, by board vote, we would have to opt in to let non-enrolled students or homeschool students participate in UIL sports, UIL activities. The new law says that we have to opt out. And so we have to bring this to the board and ask the board, and we're recommending to the board to opt out of allowing non-enrolled students participate in sports here at Southwest ISD.
I move. Second.
We have a motion and second that we adopt a policy declining to grant non-enrolled student access to participate in League UIL activities at Southwest ISD, effective immediately. Questions, anyone? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. D, consider approval of new safety measures for 25-26 school year. Who's got this?
I'm having Mr. Figueroa.
Coach?
He's gonna present.
So called coach. Hmm. Thank you.
Good evening, Board. Dr. Ball. In light of ongoing national concerns about school safety, Southwest ISD has taken a proactive approach to evaluate and strengthen our safety protocols to better protect our students and staff. Nationally, over 75% of schools have reported taking increased safety measures such as clear backpacks and bags for students, participants with clear bags at school events, installing security cameras and perimeter fencing, and also expanding mental health support. District staff facilitated 2 safety and security committee meetings, as well as conducted surveys with parents, with staff, and with community members to provide feedback regarding safety measure recommendations for our next school year. Stakeholders that took part in the process included parents and guardians, Southwest ISD staff members, Board of Trustees, and campus and district administration. Recommendations that were highly supported included a clear bag policy at campus district events after hours, student clear backpack and bag policies for all grade levels, and scheduled metal detector wand searches at campuses. If approved, these recommendations and proposed actions would be shared with Southwest ISD stakeholders through multiple avenues as we continue to prioritize transparency, proactive planning, and the well-being of every student. I've got the survey data here from both staff and also the community members and parents. We had about 620 responses from the parents. Questions that were asked: they would support the use of clear backpacks for students. Over 70% of them were in favor of that. We had about 230 or so staff members. Overwhelmingly, 87% were in favor of clear backpacks for all grade levels. In terms of activities, clear bags at events, concerts, athletic events, 80%, almost 80% of our parents were in favor of adopting that. And staff members, overwhelmingly, almost 90% were in favor of that. Our last recommendation included using the handheld metal detectors for scheduled wand searches. Wouldn't be every day, it wouldn't be every student. It would be based on the concerns that we have. Right now, we're looking at doing this only through grades 6 through 12. So we're looking at our parent response, we had almost 80% of approval. And our staff was nearly the same, about 80%, 78.6. So our next steps would be, we would communicate to stakeholders these changes that we're going to be implementing. Principals, of course, would send home the welcome back letters to families. We would post information on our websites. We would post information on social media, and also all of our other avenues for getting that information out. We haven't sent out our district supply list, but we would include that recommendation, or that approved recommendation for that. And then our parent-student handbook changes would also support that move. I know some concerns or questions that have been asked is, will the district be providing the clear bags? We will not. So one of the things that we would do is we would communicate to Academy, Walmart, Target, those areas. And then, of course, Amazon has them as well, since tons of school districts nationwide have moved towards that. And the principals were also overwhelmingly in favor, unanimously in favor of moving to that at all grade levels.
And what was the determination for the athletes with the bags?
For the athletes, that would be, if it's a district-owned bag that's issued out, dance, athletics, what have you, that would just be subject to a search in the event there was reasonable suspicion, report or something of that nature.
Bringing it in early, they said.
Correct. And we would work with administration to come up with a protocol to have the kids check that into what band area or athletics prior to the school.
I have a couple of concerns. One is that so few people responded to the, I mean, we probably had less than 10% of our parents respond. So when it says 72.9%, it's just not a lot of people.
Correct.
Also, most retail businesses ordered their supplies last year. So even if you call Academy and H-E-B and they're already getting their back to school supplies. So I don't know that we're gonna be able to find 14,700 clear backpacks. I'm not sure if it's really feasible to make that change this year, or we should give families a heads up for the next school year, or if we're gonna make exceptions for people that can't find the backpack, or, I mean, I'm just saying, is Northside going to clear backpacks?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, So I don't wanna jump on the clear backpack wagon with only less than 10% of our parents, responding. And also, does it put a financial hardship on the parents that use the same backpacks every year? Because we probably have a large population of children that use the same backpacks year to year, or they use their hand-me-down backpacks. I just have a concern that it's a little late to try to do that this year, so.
Would you be okay with amending the recommendation, or if the board wants to approve the whole recommendation, but we could say, how about the sporting events and after-hour stuff having clear backpack policies? Like,
I would be okay with the sporting events and after hours.
and then wanding, because we still would like to
The
have that.
bonding, I'm just not sure we can put that, it's already June, middle of June, we're starting August 11th. If there's other, especially if other school districts are gonna go to it, that's gonna be even a bigger demand for backpacks. And also, clear backpacks, they don't last.
Yeah.
They tear, I'm just thinking this is not a good thing to tell all of our parents in June that on August 11th they have to have clear backpacks.
Originally, we were looking at secondary level only, but as we expanded to the other principals, and that's nationally, they're doing it 6th to 8th grade, or 6th to 12th grade as well.
Right. And-
Because a lot of the students don't really use backpacks anymore because everything's digital.
Well, I know, but everybody, I see those kids coming into the high school with heavy backpacks. I don't know what they have in them.
Yeah.
They have backpacks.
Yeah.
And I know somebody said that a couple weeks ago, that kids don't use backpacks, but I drop my nephew off at the high school every day, and I see those kids walking in with backpacks. So, I'm not, it's just my opinion, but I think it's a little too late in the game to say, you gotta have a clear backpack.
Well, we need direction then from y'all, like, so.
I think we've been through this before, and we disagreed on it as well, sometime a couple of years ago, or a few years ago, probably before our previous superintendent had left. And I do believe that those backpacks do not last very long. I think we had conversation with other school districts, and parents were not very on board with it, because they can't be buying backpacks every 3 months. They tear, they have holes in them, from the students putting them down or whatever, so I don't like the idea as well, because I don't wanna put undue burden on families when there's already, they have to buy so many things, and it's very expensive, for a lot of these families. We do have a lot of people that have, back to school clinics, where they give away backpacks and things like that. But what are we gonna do if they're gonna do something like that and it's just regular backpacks? I mean, we would have to, that would be hard for parents to go out there thinking they're gonna get something for free, and then they can't use it here. So, I think it's also very late, like Ms. Adolkin says, I agree with that, it's very late in the year to have that notice out there. I'm not sure if businesses would be able to have the backpacks available for that many students, but it's just too expensive for families, because a lot of families that I know reuse their backpacks as well. That's my opinion as well. I don't know what everyone else thinks.
Well, I would agree to approve the other two, the wanding and the events also, if we're gonna pull back on the backpack part for now, but the other parts definitely approve those, in my opinion.
But we're gonna wong every person that comes through the gate?
No.
Okay, random, okay.
Yeah, random.
I'll go with that, but I don't like the backpack issue also.
Well, we want to recommend for a clear bag policy for all our after-school events, and then the wanding of our students that, what's the word you use? I forgot.
It would be scheduled, so it'd be
Scheduled.
like one day we'd be doing every other bus or every third bus.
Yeah. Randomly, that's the word I was
But
looking for.
with the events, yeah, I need to get that notice out there pretty quick.
Good, yes.
So the wanding is just, it's the wand, it's not metal detectors, am I
No.
correct?
No.
It's not a wand. We would train administration on how to properly wand
So like you're saying at, for example, at football games, or
No.
you're
No,
just
this-
saying
During the
in
school
during
day.
the school?
During the
Okay.
school day, yes, ma'am.
It's
During
a,
the
it's a
school.
practice we use here at our Crossroads Center, that where just randomly kids get off the bus, we're there, and we start wanting kids. It's not profiling, it's just random sections scheduled during the day to.
So
to-
we already have the one, so we have to
No,
acquire
we have
more.
them.
We have,
We do have it.
yep.
So I would move that we approve clear bag policy at all events, and also,
Random wand.
random wand waving, what is it?
Wanding, it's called wanding, I
Wanding?
think, yeah,
Okay.
random wanding.
How many school districts in San Antonio have clear bag policies at events?
I think everyone I've ever been to.
Majority of them.
Every playoff game
A lot
this year was
were
a
kind of late in the game on.
I didn't have a clear bag and nobody asked me to go take it back to the car.
Yeah, here it's up, because it's up to
Not-
us.
We didn't have it at Southwest yet.
No, not here, but I
Oh.
mean at other events that
Yeah.
I've been to.
I know Northside does,
I haven't been
Northeast.
to any event where they tell me that I need to have a clear bag policy. That's why I was asking.
I had to go back to my.
But of course, I carry a small bag,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah, I
carry a
think the
large
small
one.
ones.
Oh,
they
yeah,
allow.
the small ones.
The small ones they allow.
We'd probably do that too, like it's, I mean, we can size, we can look at it.
Certain size.
Yeah.
So we have a motion.
Oh, second.
We have a motion, a second, that Southwest IC Safety and Security will approve a clear bag policy at campus district events and scheduled wand searches at campuses. Is that,
Random.
okay,
But are we saying
That's-
after-school events,
Correct.
right, just to be clear?
yes.
Yes.
So then, is that an amendment to your motion, after-school events? Because it doesn't say after-school
Okay,
events.
the wanding for after school events, I thought
No,
you
no,
said.
no, no,
the
no, no,
clear
no,
bag
no, no,
policy.
no, no,
Okay,
no.
let's just get that
Let me
straight.
read it again.
Yeah.
A clear bag policy at campus/district after-school events and scheduled/random wand searches at campuses.
The campus, it's just say campus/buses, sorry.
Campus/buses.
Okay, let me read, and is that a friendly amendment? Okay. Southwest ISD Safety and Security policy will be a clear bag policy at campus/district after-school events and scheduled/random wand searches at campuses and buses. Is that okay with the motion made and the second? Okay. Hearing that motion, any further questions?
I have one question.
Okay.
What are we gonna do with our athletes that go from school to the games and they have a backpack?
That's something we'll have to work out a procedure with.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
I keep calling you Coach. Okay, and I've got that for you, Mona, if you need it. Okay, curriculum and instruction. Consider approval of a contract with National Institute for Excellence in Teaching, NIET.
Yes, Dalila has this one.
Yes, we've been doing some work with NIUT, and so the work that we started was with LASSO 2 grant, now we have LASSO 3 grant, which is a total of $914,000, which we're really excited about. And so with this money, we're broken it down, and we're gonna continue to contract with NIUT. They're also gonna provide not only just teacher training, but it's also leadership training, and with additional of 199 on-site and virtual coaching sessions. So we're happy that we can contract again with NIUT. And even already this summer, they're already doing some work with our teachers and our leaders, and so we're hearing a lot of positive feedback, and we're rolling out this work even as of now. So we're asking the board to approve our contract with NIUT to continue to support our math curriculum. And so last year was implementation, planning, now we're in implementation phase.
I move.
I second.
We have a motion and second that the board approves a contract with NIET at the cost of $548,400. Questions, anyone? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Consider approval of contract with NIET for school improvement PLC supports.
So we got an additional grant, and this grant was specifically for support, and this is for our 3 middle schools. We are going to be incorporating a 4th middle school with some additional funding. We're not been with this, but NIT, again, is the partner that we are seeking, since they already have done an amazing job with training our leaders and our teachers. So we found a really good partner to help us very better with our curriculum initiatives that we are rolling out. So for our middle schools, we did receive $225,000 just for this work. And we're asking the board to approve this additional contract with NIT.
I move. I second.
We have a motion that we approve the NIET contract to provide additional support to all 3 middle schools at the cost of $89,054. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. Special programs. Consider approval of amendment to stipends for the 25-26 school year.
Yes, Dr. Hogan is gonna talk about this. In order to fill some very high-need positions, we would like to increase a stipend.
Yeah, at this point, we still have quite a few openings for the upcoming school year, specifically in the area of our early childhood special education self-contained classrooms, and then our DLC classrooms, which are our diverse learning center classrooms. Those tend to be the hardest positions to fill, and 2 parts to that. One is because it does require 2 certifications. It requires the special ed certification, and it requires the general ed certification. And a lot of our special ed teachers really only have the special ed certification. The other piece to that is they're really complex classrooms. They have a lot of students in the classroom that have high needs, comes with a lot of liability, a lot of training that goes into that. And really to enhance the opportunity to get qualified teachers and to get them to stay, we're looking at wanting to increase the stipend to $5,000 additional dollars. So what I would be asking for today is for the board to consider the approval of an additional $5,000 stipend. That would impact roughly 38 teachers right now.
What would the complete amount be?
So right now for the self-contained position, there is a $3,500 stipend. So this would be an additional $5,000 stipend for them.
The stipend is considered like a kind of a retention and recruitment stipend. So recruit people that are out there that will come to Southwest because there's a hard fill position. At the same time, get an incentive for the ones that we do have. Because initially it was kind of like, let's try to recruit some more, but this is what we're using to do it. But also we got to take care of the ones that are here as well. So it's kind of a retention and incentive and recruitment stipend added on to their additional stipend they have already.
So it's an addition to the 3,500, not 3,500 becoming 5,000?
No,
Okay.
addition.
I move.
I second. Oh, sorry, Joe.
We have a motion and a second. Questions, anyone? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Thank you. Okay. We also have consider approval of agreement for Medicaid consulting and billing.
Yes, this would be changing who helps us with the SHARs, so I know Dr. Hogan has this information.
Yes, right now we're really looking into making sure that we have the right group of individuals supporting us to have more efficacy with our billing process and better integration with our current district policy, our practices. And so we did go back out and look at several different SHARs billing companies. And based on price and based on working with our platforms that we have, we are recommending that the board consider Onward as our SHARs management vendor for Southwest ISD.
I move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second that we approve Onward as the shares management vendor for Southwest ISD beginning with 2025-2026 school year. Questions, anyone? I just would like to make a comment that they did go out and looked at others, okay, and Onward showed up as the best. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, your one last thing.
Just like to remind everybody that we are closed on Thursday for federal holiday now, and then we'll be open back up on Monday.
Anything else?
Not at this
Board
time.
members have anything? Okay, hearing nothing else, as permitted by sections 551.001 through 551.146 of the Texas Government Code and pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074 and Code 551.071, we will now go into closed session at 7:28. I'd like to come back into open session. Time is 8:34. Go to item 12. First of all, item A, superintendent's recommendations on personnel and administrator.
I move that we approve the superintendent's recommendation on personnel.
Second.
Have a motion second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Item B, consider and take possible action regarding Texas Ethics Commission complaints.
I move that the board restates its prior motion from August 27, 2024, and continues to believe that there is a legitimate public purpose to authorize Wash Gallegos to aid in responding to outstanding ethics complaints filed against board members. As such, aid continues to support the district with normal board and district operations, help support the election decisions of the voters within Southwest ISD, and helps the district be in compliance with the laws of the state, that the board has retained sufficient controls over the response to such complaints that ensure the district's public purpose is served.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. This time, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions?
I abstain.
I abstain. Any nays? Motion passes. Item 13, other business.
Yes.
Come on.
I would like to remind all the board and senior staff that there's a retirement party for Miss Pam Rips. If that's gonna be next Wednesday, the 25th, at the print shop from 1 to 4. Pam has been a long-standing employee with the district, so I'm hoping that y'all can come and join us to celebrate her retirement. I'd also like to call up a few individuals so everybody could see some of our new principals. So if Miss Gearhart would please come up, and Miss Gearhart is gonna be joining us as the new principal for Bob Hope Elementary. Miss Gearhart, if you would come to the middle. And you can just remain standing right here, and you can look that way, so in case anybody's viewing us, and just remain standing. Then I'd like to call up Miss Alina Palomo Scott as the new principal for Big Country Elementary. And then I'd like to call up Miss Reyna, the new principal for Meadow Creek Elementary. The principalship is one of the most important jobs. You're guiding our teachers, our students, so we are so happy to have you all join us. We know that you will do a great job, and we are all here to support y'all. So God bless you all, and thank you for joining us. We will not be having a July brown bag, so just so y'all can put that on your calendar. We'll see you at our regular scheduled meeting for July, and of course, we're here if we can help with anything.
Great. Board members, any last item? All right. Let's go home. Meeting adjourned 8:38.